fellow doodlers! In today's tutorial, I want to show you how to create characters. Character design is something I discovered about 2 to 3 years ago while doing a Create an OC challenge. Since then, it has become something I love doing. I'm probably missing a few, but my current character count is 18 worlds and 57 characters. And these are all just main characters, not to mention the few I've made for fun and the side characters. When I first got into character design, I made as many characters as possible. I would normally draw them once and then move on, forgetting all about them. I'm not sure if that was a waste or not. It probably did help with how I design characters now, but I did start taking it seriously when I got into writing, and I started working at my characters more. I gave them stories, flaws, personalities, and that's when I got more serious. To help you hopefully skip some of the steps that I took, here's my knowledge of character design. First off, this will be more fun if you create a character with me, but to do that, we need some inspiration. When I create a character, I don't just sit down and go, a character. I find something that inspires me, whether that be a song, an animal, an outfit, even other people's characters. For this video, I want you to look around and find an object inside your house or outside. It could be a lantern, a knife, a bug, maybe even a shoe. It has to be something you feel inspired by, not just some random piece of trash. Well, unless, I guess, if that inspires you. First, is this character for fun? Or for a story? In this case, it'll probably just be for fun. If it was for a comic or you would be drawing them a lot, you would put less stuff on them. Because unless you're some freak of nature who can spend hours drawing one dress, you don't want to draw like that. If the character is for a one-time illustration or a written story, then go all out. But do not overwhelm the eye. Sometimes too much is, well, too much. And it'll distract the people from your actual character. I typically stick to simple designs that don't have many lines or details. Not because it looks good, but because I'm lazy and I have a short attention span. That leads me to story or character. This is something similar to saying which came first, the chicken or the egg. In this case, which came first, the character or the story? For example, my characters Thaddeus and Lily. Their story came first. I know I wanted an immortal chasing a girl through history. She always seemed to die right before he could get to her, though. This is what I started with. Then I designed how the characters would look and act. As for my character Ada, it was character first. I made her with a Create an OC challenge, then slowly developed her story, which I'm still working on to this day. In this case, it's going to be character first probably, unless the thing that you found that inspired you created the story before it created the character. I chose this beetle my parents found on the side of our house. Heh. The first thing I do is write down everything, and I mean everything. Anything that beetle makes me think of. Even if it's something I'm going to get rid of later, write it down. Everything. That way you have a large amount of ideas to choose from. You do the same. Write down everything that comes to your mind. I usually do this process on paper, but for convenience sake, I'm going to use GIMP. Typically, my next move is to draw their face. It's kind of like a comfort zone for me drawing faces, and that gets me excited and my thought process going. If your comfort zone is drawing the body or the clothes maybe, then do that first. You want to do something that'll get you in the zone of creating your character. But I usually start with the face. Instead of going straight into her actual face, the back of this beetle reminded me of a mask, so that's what I started with. I've never had a character with a mask, so this was new for me. I tried 2 types, one that only covered her eyes and one that covered her whole head, and I ended up going with the latter. While drawing, I want to mention something called same face syndrome. This is a particularly hard obstacle for many artists out there. Like its name, same face syndrome is when all your characters' faces look the same. This could also go for their bodies as well, same body syndrome, although that is not talked about as much for some reason. To combat this, you need to look at different eyes, head shapes, nose shapes, mouths, even foreheads. Mix and match until you get the desired result. If you want to know more about same face syndrome or same body syndrome, like and subscribe this video so if I eventually come out with that, you will know. Speaking of this mask, and that it's a new thing that I've never tried, I guess it's time to talk about the thing. You know, the thing. Every well-designed character has it. Come on, do you know what I'm talking about? What is it that every well-designed character has? Hopefully, this stumped you. If it didn't, then good for you. But every single character has their own unique thing. Using my other characters as an example, here's Henry. He has curly hair and a scar. Amy has pointy eyes and a braid. Do you get it? It's something that will make people recognize your character even if someone else draws it. Well, unless it's your little sister. Sorry, no one's gonna recognize that. In this character's case, it's her mask. Alright, outfit time. There are 3 questions you need to answer. Who, where, and when. Who? Who is this person? What are they like? What do they do? Where? Where do they live? Is it hot or cold? What's the weather and terrain like? When? When does their story take place, and what was or is that era's fashion? These are questions that you can answer before you even start creating your character as well, if that's what gets your mind going by asking yourself questions. Drawing faces gets my mind going, but occasionally I will have to resort to asking questions when it's a character that I have no clue on what to do about. To answer the first question of who, you need to give them a personality. I am not good at giving people my personalities. It would help if you would look up character traits for reference. I made this character secretive, quick, skeptical, and practical. To answer where, well, that's easy. Do they live in a town, the mountains, a forest? If it's cold, you're going to want to bundle them up. But if it's rough terrain, those layers that you bundle them up in, they need to be easy to move in. Same if it's hot. If it's hot, then shorter clothes. But if it's a barren desert, you don't want to get sunburned. So thin clothes that cover most of the body would be better. And the when. When does your character's story take place? The Wild West? The Victorian Age? Or maybe into the future? What was that era's fashion, or what's the typical fashion that people draw the characters from that era in? This could give you some help. You also have to take the character and their world into account as well though. Like, maybe your character's species is resistant to cold and walk around wearing flip-flops in knee-deep snow. I don't know. My character is secretive, so I gave her a hood and a cape. She's practical, so she has a braid to keep her hair out of her face and a comfortable outfit. When? Some medieval fantasy setting. I don't really know the specifics. I like the fantasy medieval era, so that's where a lot of my characters are from. As for the colors, I just color picked off the beetle, and let me tell you, this nut job of an artist who is supposedly teaching you right now doesn't know squat about picking colors, and died when I saw how amazing this character's color palette was. If I was doing this traditionally, I'd experiment with my pencils redrawing the whole sketch if I got it wrong. Don't ask me about colors. I never plan them. I just go in. If it looks good, it looks good. If it doesn't, I start over. Now, their story. Let's see how much knowledge of writing I have. Here's how I create my character's story. I listen to music that reminds me of my character, and scare my sister because I shout, "That's it!" and then laugh like a maniac because I just made a villain. Ha 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 ha. Or, I zone off into nothing until my characters start talking. Yes, I'm nuts. I hear my characters talking, not to me, but to each other, in some scene. Then I just write everything down, trash it, and start over at least 5 times before quitting halfway through. If I finish a story, I'll be in a good mood for the rest of the day, but I will never let anyone see it. Alright, I hope this video helped with your character creation, and I hope I was able to answer any questions that you have or could have had, and I hope that you created a really well thought out character. This is really just a character for fun. You don't have to go all out and design their story down to the specific detail unless you're actually going to write their story. Because trust me, when you have a character and you know their story and it's not written out, you kind of start wanting to read their story, but then you realize, I'm the author. I have to write the story. If you have any further questions or I wasn't specific about something, then ask and I will answer to the best of my ability. If I don't know the answer, I swear to you, I will go and find it out. Alright, I guess that's it. Thanks for watching, and hopefully come back next week. See you then. Bye. This was my second time in a video reading a script, and even then it was hard. I have 4 pages of this script, and it turned out to only come out to like 15 minutes before cutting, so we'll see how this goes. I really just made more work for myself. I listen to music that reminds blah. Here's how I create my character's story. By listening I actually did do this once. I was doing my chore and listening to music, and then I just started laughing maniacally because I made a villain.